how are you doing today? I hope that you're doing amazing and fantastic and wonderful. We are a quarter of the way done with 2023. I can't believe it. Like, that's just, it's absolutely mind-boggling to me that we are already this far into the year. So I thought that it would be fun to sort of go through my 5-star reads of the year so far and update you, of course, on the book battle with my husband, and just give you some interesting reading stats for the year thus far. So for those that don't know, my husband and I, hello Cleo, my husband and I are having a book battle. And I will link my original video just explaining what the book battle is for those that are interested. But it has been a trial. And he gave me some comments that he wants me to mention when we get to that aspect of the video. He's not quite comfortable in front of the camera yet. But maybe at some point I can actually get him in front of the camera. He watches all of my videos, so Aaron, you know, people want to see you. They want to know the deets, you know what I mean? Okay, so in January, our book battleness hadn't started yet. I actually didn't know that he was even reading at that point. Like, I knew that, I think that he was like reading one book, like that's what I knew of, but that's all that I knew of. Pretty sure that Cleo is going to knock over this whole entire stack of books. But so in January I read, normally for me, on average, 6 books. I'll pop them up right here. So we've got my 6 books that I read, and then I found out that my husband had read 7 books. And I was like, wait, you read more than me? And so thus the battle started. In February, the battle was going hardcore. We both read 21 books. That is the most books I've ever read in a month of ever. Like, last year, I think I only read like 58 books total. So like, I read almost half of last year's in 1 month. So we've got those. I had some pretty good reads, but I'm gonna go through like my absolute best reads. If you want to see all of my stars and monthly updates, I have actually started my own website. It's Courtagonist.com, and there you'll get updates on my videos, blog posts from me. You'll also get, I'm going to update my monthly things. So like for what I've read and what I've started, I'm going to also start writing reviews for those books. And it's sort of like a one-stop shop, as well as I am going to, for those that want to have my newsletter, I am going to be sending out a monthly newsletter just with like updates and things that I'm thinking about. And so it's just a lot of fun. So you can go over and head over to Courtagonist.com and see all of my books that I have read. In March, we slowed down a little bit, but not really. We both read 19 books in March. So like, we're neck and neck at this point. Like, neck and neck. At the end of March, I had read 46 books for the year, and he had read 47 books for the year. As of a couple of days ago, we were both at 51 books, and he's beating me on page count. He reads these chonkers. And so I'm at 14,799 pages, and he's at 18,509 pages. He did say that he has been avoiding, because most of the time the books that he likes to read are like 40 hours long. But like, his 40-hour book could also be like, I don't know, like 5 cozies, because cozies are only like 6 or 7 hours long. And so he says that he has been avoiding that. But I think that him and I both have agreed that we're gonna kind of slow down. and make sure that like we're reading things that we want to read. One of the things that he said is that it's difficult to find good books quickly. He sometimes reads them faster than he can find good ones. So sometimes he ends up burning time on books that he DNFs. He says, I have about 6 hours of listening on time on books that he'll probably DNF. One of the other things that he has done is he has been falling back on some rereads, but he's totally good with that. Like he reads the like Bulgariad series. He's probably gonna reread, if I'm to guess, The Name of the Wind by Patrick Rothfuss, that series. One of the other things that him and I both have realized is while putting an audiobook in during bedtime for the boys is a great way to get audiobook time in, we also have been falling asleep while listening to our audiobooks, which can be really, really frustrating because like I was reading Shady Hollow and I only had like 30 minutes left of the book and I fell asleep, and so then I had to go and like find my spot, and I accidentally got a spoiler while I was trying to find where I had fallen asleep. So I'm kind of salty about that, you know what I mean? I know that there's a sleep timer, and maybe him and I just both need to utilize the sleep timer a little bit more. So there's sort of an update. We are currently tied. And let me dive a little bit deeper into my stats for reading, because I'm actually super, super excited about like the diversity of books that I am reading. I do not ever want to get burnt out on cozy mysteries. They are my lifeblood. They are what I read. They are what I write. I love my cozy mysteries, but I want to make sure that I savor them for the goodness that they are. I found that I need sort of palate cleansers in between my cozy mysteries, because one of the things that I love about cozies, but can also be a detriment if you binge read them, is that they're very formulaic, right? Like there's a formula to cozies with the red herrings and the murders and like the different things like that. And I don't ever want it to become oh, I know what's gonna happen by chapter 10. I want to really be able to like enjoy it. So this year my reads have been doing really, really well. I have done 13.7% of nonfiction, which I find that I'm enjoying quite a bit. And then, but the majority, 86.3% of my reading is fiction. This is another sort of stat that has changed specifically for this year. 84% of my reading has been audiobooks. That's through Libro FM, that's through Libby, that's through Audible if it's like an Audible exclusive. So I'm really liking that. About 6% of my books have been ebook, and almost 10% have been print. I'm changing it up. I'm liking how it's going. Some other fun stats are like the types of books I'm reading, the genres that I'm reading. Of course, almost 22% of my reading is still mysteries. But like one that I didn't think that I was into until I started really recording my stats is speculative fiction. So that would be like the Seanan McGuire books that are the Wayward Children series is very speculative fiction. The Constant Rabbit by Jasper Fforde, speculative fiction. It's just basically like it's in this world, but it has magical elements in it, but not enough to be considered fantasy. It's not like world building. So I've been really enjoying that. Another thing that I talked to you guys about, especially in my like redoing my TBR video, for my TBR cart, and I went through all of my books that are on my physical TBR, I have been rocking on reading backlisted books. So let me see, 65% of my books have been backlist. And so if you don't know what backlist means, it just means a book that was published before the current year that you're in. So a 2022 book is considered a backlist book, but I've been reading a ton of books on my actual shelves. Like, these are books that I took off of my TBR and I read, which is so good for me because I was just buying books, a ton of books every single month and not necessarily reading them in a timely manner. And this year I've been more pointed in my reading. So I've been really enjoying that. Do you guys, what do you guys see as your reading? Do you track your reading like this? Or are you just like go with the flow kind of like pantser in reading? Let me know. I want to know how you guys track your reading because I'm really enjoying sort of like this deeper dive into what I'm loving, what I like to read, and it's helping me find new books and new authors in a way that I didn't before. So I'm really loving that. Now, 31% is still 2023 releases, but those are also arcs that I get from authors and from NetGalley. My ratings have been a little bit more conservative, I think, because I've been thinking more on what I'm reading and how it's making me feel and what it's making me think. And now, like, I do like 2.5 stars or 3.25 stars, things like that, but I sort of put everything where I thought it would be, like Goodreads style. So I've read 2 2-star books, 3 star books, I've read 19. I've read 22 4-star books and 8 5-star books. So, I mean, having 30 of my books be 4 stars or more, that's a game changer. That is so good. So some honorable mentions on books that I have absolutely fallen in love with. So there's Oxium's End. That was the very first book that I read that was a 5-star read. It is a science fiction book, and we follow our main character who is sort of like, she doesn't really know what to do with her life. She's at a stopping point. Her father is sort of like public enemy number 1 when it comes to the government and the country, and it's because we have found that extraterrestrial life is real. And we meet one of the extraterrestrials, and like, it's just a really good, like, I would think that it's not as good as Project Hail Mary, but I still really enjoyed it. And I have the next book, Truth of the Divine, right here on my TBR. Like, look at that cover. So pretty. And I'm excited to pick up this book and read it. But yeah, so Oxium's End. My next one is You Are Only Just Beginning. This is a poetry book that I got as an advanced reader copy from Libro FM, and the way that she talks about friendships and the struggle of adult friendships really resonated with me at a time that I really needed it. And so it was an automatic 5-star for me. It gave me all of the feels. Speaking of feels, Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow, that book made me sob. It is all about these 2 friends that meet at the hospital while one is going through basically like cancer treatments, and the other one is there because her sister has cancer treatments, and they end up forming this bond that goes through the decades, and it's very tumultuous, and it's very like heartwarming and heartbreaking, and the showcase on friendship and found family is just absolutely so beautifully well done, and so perfect that it was a 5-star read for me. I still am thinking about it, so that's how much it affected me. I loved it. We've got Skyward by Brandon Sanderson. So this is one of my first Brandon Sanderson books, and I buddy read this with Aaron. So I think that also swayed my rating up, because I loved buddy reading with Aaron. Like, it was just so much fun to have a series that we both were reading at the same time and that we were both talking about. He's also never read the Harry Potter series, so I told him that we could probably start reading the Harry Potter series this summer, and then we'll have something else to talk about. But Skyward is basically a YA sci-fi dystopian kind of book where Earth is no longer a habitable planet, and so the human race has sort of been thrown to many corners of the world and the galaxy, and it's sort of like a survival kind of story following this young girl who wants to be a pilot, and her father is considered a betrayer, and it's really, really good. My next 5-star read is Pleading for Mercy by Melissa Bourbon. This is my second or third time reading this book, and it still gets a 5-star from me. The relationships between the mother, between Harlow, her mom, her grandmother, and her great-grandmother really, really resonates with me, because I am very close to my grandmother and I'm very close to the women in my family. And so I love the fact that she has like this magical ability to also, as she's designing clothing for others, she brings out like a wish they want the most. And she has moved back after the passing of her great-grandmother and is sort of trying to figure out who she is in her hometown, and it's so good. We have Nooks and Crannies. This was the Cozy Escape Book Club pick for, I think it was March, because it was March Mystery Madness. And this was just a fun, very Roald Dahl kind of feeling book. I can link the actual full discussion below when we did the live stream, but I really, really enjoyed it. The next book I have is Dungeons and Dragons, the Road to Neverwinter. I loved this book so much. The movie was absolutely fantastic, but this book was D&D in a book. It was a whole entire campaign. It was so good. I highly recommend it if you like D&D. But yeah, so those are the 7 5-star books that I'm going to talk about today. My average rating for this year is 3.8. So like, I was like, okay, 3.8, like that's interesting. So I went through and I looked at other years. My normal ratings is like, for the past 3 years was a 4.2. So like, I'm being a lot more constructive in my feedback and in my like what I'm really wanting to rate a book, which I'm happy with myself. I'm reading on average, so I've been using the Bookmori app to like put like when I'm reading things. On average, I'm reading right now 12.8 books a month on average, if you like average out all of the months so far. If I keep this up, I will have read 156 books this year. If I can keep it up. I do not expect myself to keep it up, but that would be really, really cool. So yeah, I know that this was long, but instead of monthly wrap-ups, what do you guys think about these quarterly wrap-ups where I talk about my book battle with my husband, as well as just some really fun stats? Let me know down below. I always want to know what you guys are wanting to see and what you might want to peek into my life with. But that's the end of this chapter of Courtagonist. Please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already. And until next time, guys, happy reading. Bye.